Welcome to a brand new episode of Hope Unplugged. It's been a few minutes since we've been together, and so we wanted to come tonight and record a very special episode. If you're a part of our church family, you know that I'm Ryan Harris, lead pastor of Hope Unlimited Church, and one of the things that tends to be pretty regularly discussed at our church is the amazing experiences that are not so amazing that our family experiences when we go on trips. And here recently we went on a trip and it was pretty crazy. So I've asked my wife and my daughter Madison, who were on the trip with us, to come on, and we're going to just kind of talk about some of the details because I didn't feel like I wanted to take time on a Sunday morning to talk about all this foolishness. But it was pretty crazy. So first of all, for the first time to the Hope Unplugged podcast, let's welcome First Lady Shontae.
Thank you.
Glad to have you with us tonight. And if you'll notice, we're not at the church recording this tonight. This is actually in our dining room. So if you hear our 4-year-old Emberson or either of the two horrible individuals I call dogs that live in this house, don't think too much about it, but we hope they won't make too much noise. And then also it's good to have Maddie with us tonight. Welcome, Maddie.
Thank you.
Welcome, Maddie.
Glad to be here.
So you guys excited to be on a podcast? You guys listen to a lot of podcasts. Is
Yes.
this your first time on a podcast?
Yes.
Okay. That exciting for you?
I'm very excited, actually.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So where do you think we should start with sharing just a little bit about this trip we took at the beginning of September?
Definitely the way there. Like,
That would be an obvious place to start, yes. I think maybe, first of all, we just kind of lay the groundwork of what the trip was even about. This is going to be a really long podcast if we continue at this rate.
if you knew where we were going to start, why would you ask?
I just meant, like, what part of this, what part of the story should we get to? Not where on the journey of the trip, because there's several pieces to this picture.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay. So
Maybe we should start at the beginning.
Yes, let's start over.
it's a brilliant place to start.
Okay.
Basically, just some context for this trip is that every year or so, my parents like to rent out a cabin in Pigeon Forge for our family, them, and my brother and sister-in-law and their family, so we can all go spend a few days together. So that's what happened. We were going on Labor Day, and we were going to be there through Friday evening or Friday morning, and that was the plan. So Labor Day, we load up in the car. First of all, we were going short one because Jennison this the first time we'd ever gone on a family trip without all of the family. Jennison was staying home. So we headed out. First part of the trip went well. We drove to Louisville. We stopped and got Chick-fil-A for lunch. We're having a good time. We got back on the road. And it was at this point that Shontae took over driving. So you want to take over telling the story?
I feel like that anytime anything happens to our vehicle, I'm driving.
Which I don't think is coincidental.
I feel like it's kind of my fault, but it's not really. Anyway.
I appreciate you owning that.
That was backhanded. Huh? He means that it's your fault every time the van breaks.
I think he believes that.
Well, I haven't seen any evidence to the contrary yet.
Yikes.
Anyway, we were literally just like at a couple stoplights down, probably.
Yeah, barely got started.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess another little piece of context is 3 weeks before we left, we had the transmission rebuilt.
Mm-hmm.
The check engine light came back on. I took it to the mechanic, and he said it was something about the air ratio something, but said it's safe to drive. So that's why we were driving it in the first place. We had no problem to Louisville. You took
Until
over
I
driving.
took over.
Barely got on the road. Then what happens?
And then it started jerking and shaking and binging. Like the light wasn't just coming on. The check engine light wasn't just like coming on and staying there. It was like bing, and then it would and then go off, and then bing, and yeah.
So we got off at the very next exit,
Right.
and we went to AutoZone.
Was that the first place we went?
No, we went to
We went to some other place that it took
Advance
too
Auto
long.
Part and stood out there and waited.
Yes.
I waited 10 minutes. She said, I'll be right out. And she was never coming. So
No.
we went back to a different place. Guy came out, checked it, said it was something to do with a cylinder misfiring, but
Yeah.
that we would be. I said, well, we're headed to Pigeon Forge. Are we going to be able?
Oh, you'll be fine.
Yeah, he said you'll be fine.
You'll
you
be
may,
fine.
You may
Weren't
not
we
get very good gas mileage.
Yeah.
Weren't we
but
like
you'll get there.
like 4 hours away at that point?
Yeah, 3.5. We were about
3.5, 4.
halfway, 3.5, 4 hours. So that was in Frankfort, Kentucky.
And I think we were actually almost ahead of the rest of the family at this point. Because
Oh,
your
yeah,
mom
we
had
were-
called and
we
was
were doing
like,
great.
oh, you guys are doing really good.
We'd have been the first ones there easy without vehicle trouble.
Yeah.
So I took back over driving because you didn't want to drive
Yeah,
it if
no,
it was
it's
being
scary.
funny. So we left Frankfort and headed in the direction of Pigeon Forge. But by the time we got to Lexington, which is about 30 minutes past Frankfort, I was like, this is not okay.
Yeah.
So I called ahead to a Firestone auto shop and said, can you guys look at it and tell me what's going on? And they said, as long as you get here before 5. Well, it was like 2 p.m. I said, we'll be there.
What's that ice cream shop?
What ice cream shop?
Cold Stone.
Cold Stone, yeah.
I'm sorry.
This was not
This was
Cold
not
Stone.
fire.
This was the opposite. This was Firestone, which would make it a hotter stone
sorry.
than the Cold Stone.
That was squirrel.
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
So anyways, we get to the Firestone, and I go in and I say, can you look at it? And they say, no, because our technician is gone. It's Labor Day. Nobody will be here to look at it till the morning. So then I start calling around and find out that everybody's closed for Labor Day. Mm-hmm. And so there's nowhere they can look at it. Then we're like, well, we'll just park it there, give them the keys to look at it in the morning. We'll rent a car and go on to Pigeon Forge. Well, all the car rental places were closed on Labor Day. So we basically are relegated to this decision. We're going to have to spend the night in Lexington. So we get a motel. We stay the night in Lexington. The next morning, I'm the first person at the Firestone saying, can you look at it? I sat there and waited for an hour and a half for them to come out and tell me, I don't know what's wrong with it, and we sure can't fix it. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, well, who can I take it to? Well, I don't know anybody that really does that kind of work.
In Lexington.
This is not in some little borough somewhere. This is in a city of about 250,000 people. This is a pretty decent metropolitan area. And so I start calling around, and everybody's like, I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't know anybody that does that. I finally find somebody that says, I won't do it, but I know somebody who I would tell you to take it to that I trust. And I'm like, okay. So I find this guy. We take it to this guy, but in order to take it to him, we had to go ahead and rent a car. Mm-hmm. So we reserve a rental with Hu.church rental car. Let me explain to you that when you rent with Hu.church, it's going to hurt. It was the worst experience I've ever had with a rental car, and I've never had fantastic experiences with rental cars. But anyways, I reserved it. Found out I could get there sooner, so I called them and said, can I come pick it up early? They're like, we're going to charge you an extra hour. There'll be a fee and whatnot. So I just went in, canceled my reservation, and made a new one at the different time. And I'm like, why would you charge me a fee for something I could fix in 2 minutes?
Yes, but it hurts us.
It was hurts. Well, we get there. I walk in at the time when our car's supposed to be ready, and he goes, well, there's one guy getting his car cleaned in front of you. You should be out in just a minute.
They don't clean fast.
I sat there for an hour and a half. Yeah. And I'm talking about the kind of shady business going on inside that building. There was all kinds of weird people coming in and out.
I like how you said you sat there.
Well, I sat inside there
For an hour
but
and a
the whole family is
Sat-
sitting out in the van
Yes.
for an hour and a half waiting.
Forever.
And that's where I went to the guy and I said, look, man, I got my family out in the car. Can I get an ETA? He was like, oh, it shouldn't be but another 10 minutes. That was at the 30-minute mark. It was another hour. We finally got the car. So, and here's another piece to this is my wife, just before we go on this trip, had found on Facebook Marketplace a new
place.
stroller for our 4-year-old that was like this $400 stroller that she got for a fraction of the price. So she bought the stroller, but this stroller, and I'm not going to lie, it is a lot nicer,
It's
but
beautiful.
also happens to be much larger.
It's a mockingbird. If there's any moms out there that know strollers, this is like the Cadillac of all strollers.
Basically.
Yeah.
The problem is there's no way to put it in the back of the van without it taking up 2/3 of the entire luggage space.
It was slightly larger than our last one.
So when I'm packing the van, I barely get everything in the van. When we're now transitioning, we transition out of our van into a Ford Escape, which means it's going to be even smaller.
Right.
So when we get to the car shop where we're going to drop it off, I look at Shontae because this car shop is in like the heart of Lexington. There's no parking. It's just a street.
Nowhere on the street.
I asked the guy, where do I pull in? He said, well, there's a spot over there. You can try to park there. So we're on the side of the street, cars coming and going, and we're trying to load all of our stuff. And I look at Shontae and I say, I don't think the stroller's going to fit. And she says, but we got to take the stroller.
Yeah.
So some way, somehow, by the leadership of the Holy Spirit, I take stuff that was jammed floor to ceiling in a van
Yes.
and fit it into a Ford Escape.
Won't he do it?
Dad is a pro at luggage Tetris. He has been since.
Well, it's
As
all
long as I can
that time I
remember.
wasted on a Game Boy as a child coming to fruition because I was able to get everything just pieced in there. And I'm talking about we barely got that door shut. There's no rear view mirror because you can't see out the back. You're going to have to use your side mirrors the whole way there. That's the situation. But I take it in, give him the vehicle. We go, and now we're leaving. This is on Tuesday. And it's about 1:30 by the time we've been able to get this done. Remember, I was at the dealer's at the car place at 7:45 and they opened at 8. So it's been 5 hours of getting this all together. We didn't have breakfast. We hadn't had lunch. So we say, you know what? Let's get something to eat. I said, let's get out of the heart of Lexington. First place I see to get off, we're going to go get something to eat. We pull off the exit. There's 2 options. McDonald's or Wendy's. Now,
We have
we're
both
not
in Danville.
we're not excited about either.
No, we're not.
But we decided
Wendy's.
McDonald's is way worse than Wendy's,
Wendy's side.
especially in this situation.
burger.
So we're in the mood for some Wendy's. So we go towards Wendy's. We pull into Wendy's, and when we get into Wendy's, we find out that Wendy's is under construction and they're closed.
Of course it is.
Closed for renovation.
At which point I began to laugh hysterically.
Yeah, you lost it.
The family was like, he's gone. He's lost it completely because, I mean, of course they were closed. Of course they were closed.
The Harris luck.
It was that was how this trip was going. It made perfect sense that they were closed. So we ended up going another exit or two, ended up actually eating at Wendy's. It went okay.
It was
It
good.
was good.
It was.
We
I
were
tried the new, was it the nacho burger?
loaded
Something?
nacho
Yes.
burger.
Oh, it was
10 out of 10.
It was decent. It was
good.
So
I'd
then
recommend it.
we headed on. We made it to Pigeon Forge. Because of the time of day that we were getting there, my family said they wanted to meet us for dinner.
They were all there.
So they met it. Yeah, they'd all been there for a day because this is now Tuesday evening, about 5 o'clock when we get to Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg. So we meet at the Apple Barn restaurant and we eat dinner And when we get done eating dinner, then we're going to go back to the cabin because we haven't been there yet. Well, we go head up to the cabin, and we've been to the mountains. We've stayed in cabins there before, but I have never seen a more narrow. I'm talking about, most of them are not wide, but you can get two cars passing each other because, I mean, you kind of need that. There is no room for a second vehicle on this. And it's winding road up this mountain, as high up a mountain as I ever remember staying. And so it was intense. So we get up there, and I'm not going to lie, like I started having some severe anxiety just getting there because I'm like,
Yeah.
you can't get down this mountain quickly. If something goes wrong, like if you cut your finger and you're starting to bleed out, you'll bleed out before you get down to the doctor because like there's no going quickly.
And there's not room for two cars. It's one car.
Right. So what
that can
happens
fit.
if you meet somebody on the way up there?
Oh,
I mean, it was just intense. It was insane.
praise God we didn't.
Yeah, praise the Lord for sure. So I mean, we're up there, but after we got up there, started to calm down, started to cool off. But then we realized the next morning we're gonna find out what's up with our van, and so that was still on my mind. I didn't sleep real well because I knew, man, they're gonna call me in the morning. Well, I woke up early Wednesday morning. As soon as I thought I might be getting a phone call, I just started pacing, waiting on the phone call. About 11:30, still hadn't heard anything. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And my dad's like, you might as well go ahead and call him. So I called him, and he said, I'm pretty sure that this is what's wrong, something with a cylinder. And he said, that's what I think it is, but I can't fix it. And I said, well, do you know anybody that can fix it? He said, I don't know anybody around here that does that kind of work.
Again,
And so
we're in Lexington.
it's in Lexington,
Well, it is.
Kentucky. And we have a van stranded there. We're 3.5 hours away in Pigeon Forge, and we don't know anybody to take it to. Well, I started trying to figure out. I checked to see because we have State Farm and we have roadside assistance, which will do towing. So I'm like, well, let's see if I can get it towed home. And we went through the whole process, and they're like, yeah, and he goes, okay, well, according to your coverage, you get 10 miles towed. And to get it to your destination, that's going to be $2,262.
It was a little bit over.
Goodness gracious.
And so I said, yeah, that's not what we're going to do. So we're like, we didn't have any idea. My dad happens to know a pastor friend they've been friends for a long, long time. And he is a mechanic, does engine work, and knows engines. And so he called him and was asking him through the whole process what he thought it might be, what we could do. Anyways, long story short on that, we were able to get a young preacher who was needing some extra money, was willing to take a truck and trailer, go to Lexington, pick up our van, and take it to Evansville area, which is where this pastor and his, I believe it's his brother-in-law, run a auto shop, and they do some work there. And the end of that story is very interesting and exciting because we ended up getting a new engine in there. We got a second vehicle, and all of it without us taking on a car payment or any kind of debt. It was definitely a God thing where God worked it all out. But this is not really about that. I've talked about that at church. This is about the crazy experiences we had. So in the midst of all this, we're up high in the mountain. You want to tell them what we got to experience multiple times in the mountains?
Oh yeah, we got to see a lot of bears. We saw about one a day, and I was able to get up pretty close. And
Well, the one was coming up
Yeah.
towards our porch, and everybody else is running, and Maddie's getting her phone out, taking pictures.
how far do you think I was? Like maybe 3 feet?
At least there was a little railing, but not the kind of railing that's going to hold back a bear.
No. Well, it wasn't scary. Like it wasn't showing any signs of
Aggression.
yeah. Like
That's
it wasn't being
generally what people say right before they're eaten by a bear. Is he wasn't being very aggressive. And and then it's over.
I mean, it wasn't. I don't know. I wasn't scared. I think it was the peace of God. I think
Wow.
that's what it was.
Wow.
They seemed tame. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
they didn't seem
They were just
aggressive,
up
but
there
I'm
looking
sure.
for food because there were workers across the street.
Well,
And-
finally
And they were
she
feeding
comes
them.
in, and we're all, of course, up on the porch and getting ready to go in. And then he just like starts coming, like he's gonna
He's gonna
come in
go
the house
inside.
with us, and we're like, yeah,
So then we
probably
finally
not.
shut the door. He was like, right
But
in front of
also
the door,
finding
too.
out from the people who like were working from there, they were working on a house right beside us. They said that they can open doors if they're not locked, which we did not know this. They were getting in the workmen's trucks, like not just in the back. We're talking about like opening the door and getting in where he drives. And so he said it was pretty rough working up there because he had to, keep an eye on his back all the time because they would just come up. But
Because did you guys say that some of the workers, not the guy who owned the place, some of the
No.
workers were feeding
they
the
were
bears
feeding
daily.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like-
So they were
Hence
definitely.
why they were coming up
Like
there.
whenever
Yeah.
they were done, they wouldn't throw the food away. They'd open it and like put it on the ground and let them eat
Mm-hmm.
it. And so, which I mean, it was fun to watch them. You're not supposed
But it's
to.
not.
You're not supposed to do that.
Because the problem is going to be once that cabin is renovated and the workers aren't there. Those
yeah.
bears are going to keep
They're gonna
coming,
keep
thinking
coming.
there's food.
Well,
So
yeah.
don't rent that cabin.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
the guy was actually telling us, that he'd like opened the door and went out to his truck for something. And then when he got back, the bear had actually just walked in the front door. And so then they had to try to get him out of there. But they said there was one that was quite aggressive. He was the biggest and the dad. A couple of them were tagged.
Yeah,
It's
well-
on their ears. They were tagged.
the biggest one was tagged.
Yeah. But some of them were just.
You know
But yeah,
what
he
they
was by far
say?
the biggest one we saw. What?
You know what they say? A fed bear is a dead bear.
Because
Well,
they
we
have to
weren't going
euthanize
to turn
them.
anybody in.
That's
We
so
didn't
sad.
feed them.
No.
We didn't do it.
No.
And we
But
would never do it.
I
But
would
we didn't
never
get-
want, because I mean that was a lot. Of course, we were kind of in their territory though, because we were
Of
way
course.
up
Way
there.
up in
It
the
was
mountains, yeah.
In the
So-
mountains. That was their home.
But
So we are Friday morning. My dad gets up and goes
Mm-hmm.
outside and says, "Which of the kids left the door open on our rental car?" None of the kids left the door open. Upon further investigation, we found bear prints in the back seat of that rental car.
Muddy bear prints on the
So
seats.
the bear had opened the door and had gotten in. And thank God it was a rental car. I mean, because obviously if he'd tore it up, it'd have been really bad for us that we'd have to pay for it.
I don't think they have
Because
bear
I don't think they
insurance.
have bear insurance for rental in your rental agreement. But if he'd have got in our van, there would have been French fries somewhere.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he would have ripped the thing apart trying to. But because it was in that rental car, it had been cleaned out.
that we had
So there
waited
was-
like an
there
hour
was
and
no
a half
food
to get
for
clean.
it to find.
That's right.
So I guess the moral to that story is when the cleaning takes a while, just thank God because there's a bear going to climb in eventually.
Yeah.
And you'll be thankful for it.
That's
Well,
good.
it was pretty
That's good.
crazy though, because like your mom was posting every day about, the bears coming up, and people's like, oh, that's not normal. That's not normal. But a lot of people were saying like they even go to like the different lookouts in there and try
Can't
to
find
see
them,
them
yeah.
and never see one. And so we felt pretty lucky that we got to see
Every
so many.
day.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Every day.
Yep.
and that we got to get
So,
so close to.
It was
so.
a pretty interesting.
Well, I did.
And in the middle of it all, we ate at some really good
Oh
restaurants.
yes.
We went to downtown Gatlinburg and walked around,
So good.
which was actually kind of fun.
In the rain.
It started to
Tyler
rain.
and Ryan kept telling us that we needed to hurry because it was going to rain.
Oh
and
yeah,
it did.
hurting us in our shopping.
Just not real bad.
No, it wasn't bad.
Was a sprinkle or two.
We did get to use the stroller.
Yeah, that was
We
big.
went
we
to-
went
it's
to
called
the
the
island
Island.
on
Oh,
Thursday.
and Dad and I tried some really, really good coffee. It was Peace, Love, and Coffee. Was that what the place was
At
called?
Gatlinburg?
Yeah.
Yeah.
was
Well, and then
so
we
good.
went to a place in Chattanooga.
Yes.
Or outside of
the
Chattanooga.
Moon- what's it called?
Something Moon, and they had their own special milk that they put in their lattes.
Moon milk. They have moon milk.
It's like caramel and vanilla.
So good
In
that they
the
make
milk.
fresh every day.
Yeah. It was
Oh
probably
my
the best
gosh.
latte I've ever had
In my life.
hands down.
In my
Their
16
chai
years
tea
of
wasn't
living.
anything
Yeah.
to write home about. Though.
well, then
I'm just
you
gonna put
shouldn't
that
have
out
had
there.
chai tea
But the
because nobody
coffee-
can beat
Oh my
Mad
gosh.
Goat's chai tea.
No,
So that's
Goat
just the way
rocks.
it is.
But
Definitely.
that latte, I had an iced one and you had a hot one.
Mm-hmm.
And mine, we had the exact same thing. Mine was immaculate.
Wow.
So good.
I like that word.
immaculate. I do too. That's like one of my favorite words.
Mine was
immaculate.
spectacular.
Immaculate, I feel like, is the best way to describe mine.
you ready for this? Mine was okay.
Mid. Mid.
Mid.
Bet.
Immaculate, mid, and spectacular. I like
Definitely.
that word too.
Definitely. We then left Pigeon Forge and went to, which one more thing I do need to say about Pigeon Forge is Friday morning before we left Pigeon Forge, we went to, I don't even remember what that place was called. It was a breakfast place somewhere on that main drag in Pigeon
Yes.
Forge.
It had a big
Was it,
rooster in front of it.
was it Sawyer's?
Something like
something?
that.
Yeah, it
That
was like
sounds-
Sawyer's.
Sawyer's.
Sawyer's. something
And
like that.
everything there was fine, but what was amazing was they had pancakes. You could get chocolate chip pancakes, but they had something I've never heard of before. They had their own house-made peanut butter syrup.
I'll take your word for it.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I like that word
It
too.
was definitely one of the best pancake syrups I've ever had in my entire life.
I didn't try it.
What?
What?
Judah just informed us that as we talk about wildlife, we have a deer in our backyard, which is not uncommon. We see deer in our yard pretty regularly.
Yeah.
But
Probably because we feed them.
we do. Because
do
a
feed the
fed
deer.
deer is not a dead deer necessarily.
Not
deer.
in our yard
We've
anyway.
not found them to be aggressive
no.
in any way, shape, or form.
Because they run.
I feel like
away.
that's falsified in
We don't like
movies.
feed them. Like if I have apples kind of getting squishy, I throw them out there for them. But I mean, it's not like we put a feeder out there.
No.
Right.
Just clarifying.
So we left there. We went to Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
and I preached for Tyler on Sunday morning, both services, and then we left.
Shout out to Awaken Church.
Yeah, shout out Awaken.
Represent.
Had a good time. It was good, and then we hopped in the car, and we had to switch vehicles with my mom because we had my mom and dad's car because they took the rental car home, took it back to the drop off. And we went to switch with my mom and dad because my dad didn't like my mom's Cadillac, which is now my Cadillac. Praise be unto God.
Yay.
And I love it. But my dad didn't like
beautiful.
driving it, so he wanted to switch. But they have church on Sunday night, so we had to get there in time for mom to switch with us and be able to go to service that night.
Shout out to Tammy. She looked beautiful. She showed up. She was ready to go to
did.
church.
Oh my gosh.
She showed up in this really pretty like blue that looks so good.
And it
so
made her eyes pop.
yeah,
It was
she looked
so,
good.
She looked so good in that. It
Yep.
was
And
wonderful.
And the thing I love about it is she got there in time to go ahead and fill up the gas tank. So when we switched with her, we had a full gas tank.
She's-
I mean,
she's the
my
best.
mom is the bomb.
And
she
she
is.
went and got me ibuprofen because I had a headache.
Did. It was
That's
a
true.
blessing.
And left it in the Shout out to Tammy. She's
definitely.
She
amazing.
is. She's the best.
And then we got home.
Oh no. And be knocked down the camera.
Oh, well,
We lost a camera.
We lost the camera.
one view
It's
down.
okay.
It's okay, and be fake.
Hey, this is very professional.
It
and
really is.
exciting.
It's okay. You're not in
Just-
trouble.
That's what Hope Unplugged is all about, is giving you some behind the scenes
This is definitely
reality.
unplugged.
And yeah, Emberson's attitude right now is very unplugged.
Very.
We got home.
Always is.
And obviously, already kind of said the car saga, how it's worked out. We're still waiting on an engine. It
Still
should
no
be-
van.
Should be in the end of October, and then we'll have 2 fully functional, fired up vehicles with no car payment. So God is good.
Yes, he is.
Anything else about the trip that you guys can think of we were going to share? Because we just kind of gave you the rundown.
Oh, that rental car
Yeah.
was phenomenal. I loved it. It was so nice. It was so. I would love to have that car.
Sure you would.
I bet
It
you would.
was beautiful because it
Yeah.
had the fancy little in the back seat. It had the fancy little charger for the supercharger. Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
For
the
the
USC.
Apple?
or
Yeah, the
something.
USB-C.
Well,
plug-in.
Maddie's getting ready to get her license, like permit license, whatever. So shout out to Maddie. If anybody's wanting to get her a car, this is, what was it?
Yeah, it's a Ford Escape.
Ford
Aren't they,
Escape.
like-
She likes these.
I'm sure Larry has a
1,000.
couple on the lot at all times, ready to go. So
It was
me
a
up,
nice
Larry.
car. And
Yeah.
your mom like fell in love with that one too because when she drove it, but then
So,
she ended up getting something different.
she ended up getting a Buick Encore, which is
Cute.
even smaller.
It's cute.
She just doesn't like big vehicles.
It is. And isn't it blue?
It is blue.
Her favorite color is blue.
Yeah.
Matches
That
her eyes.
Kentucky
That
blue.
dress,
So it worked out.
again with that dress. Huh? Oh, me and Judah, we went to Cracker Barrel. And me and Judah wanted to try these things. They're called slime lickers that we've seen all over the internet. So we got really excited. We both picked out a blue one. And we checked out and we went to the car and it was like mom had also bought a costume. And so we're getting ready to pull off.
For Emberson, not for
Yeah,
myself.
For
Yeah.
yes.
Please clarify. Please.
It was for Envy Faith, and we, oh my gosh, and we were gonna try them, and if you don't know what it is, it's like a flavored candy, like liquid in the middle, and then it has a ball, and you like lick it, and the flavor, and you get to taste it. So basically, we had tried to get one of those. Well, we didn't read the fine print. So we open it and we go to lick it, and it was a lip balm. It
was a
wasn't
lip balm.
It wasn't flavored. It tasted so bad, and me and Judah were so sad. But by the grace of our parents, they took us back around and let us go inside and pick out
And get a real one.
So we got a real one, but it was just
So now we have these giant, I mean, the thing is like,
If you need lip balm,
I was gonna say,
But you don't
it's
mind
like
that
in a
it's been
tube this
licked.
big. It's like it's
licked
and we
and
have two
used.
of them.
yeah. And we will make you a good deal for them. Anybody. So you can get in the comments right now if you'd like one. Those are ready for
DM me
sale.
if you'd like
Maybe
one.
we could do a
Madison
giveaway
M.
sometime.
Harris.
Ooh, yeah. Top
Giveaway.
fans.
Yeah.
Top fans.
Wow.
Everybody
I love
gets
it.
what's it called?
A slime liquor.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's what it's
This
called.
doesn't sound like a good plan.
it doesn't.
So, I mean, I think basically what happened, though, through all this is it's been decided that the Harris family needs to staycation
We are.
from now on because trips just don't work out for
They
us.
don't like us.
But in the midst of all the chaos, we had a great time at the hotel.
We did.
We did.
We did.
And
We had
then
some fun.
we did. We swam, and Imby is not afraid of water anymore.
This is true. She wouldn't touch the water
No.
when we went on vacation last year, but she was all about that pool. And we would have never known
That's right.
had we
Right.
not been stranded in Lexington.
Right, because there was no pool at our.
And another thing that you need to be
Pleasanton.
careful, if you think you're going to have any kind of engine trouble, do not drive through Lexington, Kentucky, because nobody will help you.
That's
There's
right.
no one there. They don't do that kind of work there. I still can't believe that, but
It's insane.
it
And if
is what it is.
Jennison would have went with us on this vacation, there wouldn't have been room for him.
No, because we would have had to leave the stroller to make room for Jennison
Oh.
in the back.
And I probably would have left Jennison instead
Yeah,
of
I
the
think-
stroller.
I'm sure. Jennison still be
kidding,
sitting on
Jay.
a street corner in Lexington, waiting for somebody to come
Well,
get him.
Mom was determined to even leave the luggage behind if we had to bring the stroller. So she's like,
Which the
put on
kicker
a few
was,
more shirts.
it was Thursday afternoon before that stroller got used. We came home we left Pigeon Forge on Friday. So I made it very clear Thursday morning that if that stroller didn't get used, that I was going to need marriage counseling.
But
Because I counted it between when we loaded up the van and when we got home, I loaded everything we had into 4 different vehicles a total of 7 times. 7 times I had to
all
fit
by
that
himself.
thing in.
All by himself.
7 times.
And it's not because nobody helped him. If you try to help him, he'll take it right back out and put it where he wants it
Because
to
you
go.
didn't put it in the right way.
I've tried many a times to help him.
Just pile
But-
it up and I will pack it in.
That's
But
exactly how it goes.
When we were at the
Every time.
island, MB actually did get some use in it because we walked a lot.
She did.
And your mom put her purse in there
Well, thank God for that.
along with my bag
Oh,
and
my
mine,
word.
and mine.
and things that we bought some souvenirs.
We
so
did. We bought a
that
bunch
was
of souvenirs.
all in there too.
Wow. I'm so glad.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a blessing.
We also found out Emerson is a thrill ride enjoyer.
Roller coasters.
We got her
Yeah.
the band at the island to go on the rides, and they went on the little kid roller coaster, which was not extreme, but it was for a
fun.
4-year-old.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
fun.
yeah.
It was a bit much, and I'm like, we just spent $20,
Yeah.
and she is not going to ride anything else. But she loved it. They tried to put her on like the teapot ride, and she goes, "This is boring."
It was
Yeah.
well, it was like this little tractor ride that all it did was just drive around in
and
a
you
circle.
could
And her
you
face,
could act like you're steering. And she
Yeah.
looked back at me and she was like, "Maddie, I'm bored." And she was like, "Is it over yet?" And
her
I'm
face, like I
"Hold
got
on a
video
second,
through that
Abby."
whole thing, and I was like, "Oh, it'd be hi," and she's like,
We should have gone on that first and then done the roller
Worked
coaster.
it up.
and then
too.
shout out to
Because-
Judah. He went on one that actually went upside down.
Oh, that
Yeah, he
was
did.
Conquered his
so
fear.
Fun.
Twice, I think. Did you
Some
do it
good stuff.
twice?
Yeah, pretty impressive.
It was
I had to
so
ride with
fun.
him.
Yeah.
And I went with Easton
Yeah,
as
because
a
they were
chaperone.
shorter. That they needed somebody to go with them.
chaperone.
You said
Oh.
the first time was fun.
The first time
The
was
second
fun.
time
Second time I got sick.
started to
So
get a little sick.
fun.
Because full disclosure, we had just eaten at Paula Dean's.
Yeah.
So,
So
like,
good.
you don't eat a little bit at Paula Dean's. It's family style. So you can have as much as you want or whatever. They bring you your sides, your main course
They have the
refills.
best sweet tea
We
there.
need to start a petition to get a
So
Paula
good.
Dean's in Danville.
I don't think that's ever going to happen.
No, I'd want a Panda Express.
Over
first.
by the Walmart.
I think we have a far better chance of getting a Cracker Barrel, which would be somewhat on the same vein. Just
And then
not
everybody can
nearly
go
as
get
good.
one of those slum liquors.
That's true. Yeah, because Cracker Barrel is not just a restaurant; it's a general store.
Oh, wow.
They should
Not
really.
sponsored.
They should really
Sponsor
sponsor,
us.
us.
Sponsor
Yeah,
us.
Cracker Barrel should sponsor us anytime. I'm willing to do it. Also, Mad Goat, if you'd like to
Mad
sponsor
Goat.
us, we use Mad Goat as the drink of choice for
I
Hope
finished.
Unplugged, the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you guys like to share while you're here on the podcast?
Anything you want to plug coming up, Maddie?
Well, you got your final volleyball game,
yeah,
but
there-
by the time this shows, it'll be over.
That's
So,
true. We had a volleyball game last night
How'd that go?
and we won.
It went
Yeah.
good.
Well, tell us,
good.
what was your
Pretty
record
good.
for this season?
What do you mean?
3-1.
Yeah.
3 wins, 1 loss. And let's don't get into the 1 loss because there's a lot of controversy
Oh my goodness.
as to whether that was actually a loss
It was cheating.
because there was some cheating. I'm convinced that the pastor of First Baptist told the referee, we don't lose game 3.
just call
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And if he wants to refute that claim, he's welcome to come on Hope Unplugged anytime, and we'll talk about it.
Give us a call.
Because until he comes on this podcast and says it isn't true, I'm gonna always believe it.
It was a dirty game, though. It really was.
They won the first set. We won the second set, and then the third set was
rigged.
Yeah.
They weren't giving us our points.
they were
Yeah.
taking away
Changed
points.
a call that was clearly made.
That the ref was like, "What's
Yeah.
going on?" And
Yeah.
they were still,
Yeah.
"Nope."
Fantastic.
But this is the best volleyball team we've had ever.
Oh yeah. Well,
In
you
the
guys never
history.
you hadn't won a game ever
Or
until
set.
last season.
Yeah, we won
And
one
you won
game.
one game last
One
season.
game.
And this season you won all but one of your games during the season. You went
With
to
the
a tournament
tournament.
where you played much higher level competition.
Professionals, and we still
I
did
got
pretty
your
good.
tails kicked. But
We still did pretty good on that last
you,
one.
you held your own
Yeah.
and learned a lot. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
very
we
proud
did.
of the girl.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
did
yeah.
really good.
They did.
Great season.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything you want to share, Shontae? You got coming up? I know foster care stuff. You got some stuff going on right now.
It's going good. Pastor Doug, Anthony, we're getting a room set for me finally, so I can get all my stuff put in
because
shelves.
my office is overwhelmed by foster care
So is our garage.
stuff. It's fantastic.
It is. Yeah. Well,
It's
I was going to
fantastic.
Such a
say,
blessing.
and that
You guys
is-
are so generous.
Yes, it's a shout out to you because we could not do this without you. I've even got other people in the community wanting to help us. So I'm anxious to get my room set and start getting, because that way we can see what we got. Because right now it's in nice piles. But
And what's very exciting is we've already got the date set for beginning of next year. We're going to be partnering with an organization called Backyard Orphans that is going to resource us to do full service wraparound care for everyone involved in the foster care
So
system,
awesome.
which has been our vision from the get-go. We just didn't know how to flesh it out. They're going to come and train us, our leaders, how to do it. And then we're going to be building teams. And come the fall of 2024, man, we are going to be on the next level ministering to foster families. And I'm so excited about it because we already are seeing so much fruit in that area.
Yes.
With we have Josh and Christina and John and Penny that both have foster placements right now, and just wonderful kids. And it's
so
beautiful to
sweet.
see their families working together.
so much
and all
love.
that
I
kind of
love to
stuff.
see
Yeah.
how it's just like effortless when somebody gets a child. It's not different, It's like it just the love is so
the,
real. In
the
there.
love is effortless. The
Well,
process.
no.
Oh, goodness
be
gracious.
very-
That's what I meant.
I know what you meant, but I wanted to clarify because it's like it's just as if
No.
it's the same
No,
as
no,
it was.
no.
No, it's a
No.
lot of work. It's a lot of effort.
No. So, and if you are listening, I know we've talked about the church coming together and helping these families, but even like on a Sunday, slip them some money, say, hey, you guys get some food, because it does. I mean, for both of these families, we're talking about they had, their girls are older when they brought in these younger kids. So it's totally different dynamic, and it's hard.
Yeah,
really hard.
it's a lot.
So just anything they need or, whatever.
Because we can speak from experience as well. When you are that foster family, just someone acknowledging your sacrifice means a
Absolutely.
lot. Just
Yeah.
saying, hey,
Oh, yeah.
I see you and I know I can't do everything you need done, but I want to do something to help you means the world to those families.
Speaking of that, with Christmas kind of coming up again, I know it's pretty far away, but
Not that far.
our class is very, very excited to do again what we did last year, which was do a team of 2, which in my case we did a team of 3, and it was me and my best friends, and we did 2 kids buying 3 gifts each and being able to bless them and stuff, because all we got was the age and what they wanted. And that's what our class took a trip to, I think it was Walmart we went to, and Big Lots for just different things. And we got to bless those kids. And it was really sweet because we had a 3-year-old, I think, and she wanted a ball pit. And so we were able to like bless those kids. And that was such like a blessing in itself, because we absolutely loved the idea that we were getting to help kids that really needed it, because we used to just do a like gift exchange where you'd pull somebody's name and then get them whatever they wanted. But this is so much more
In the class.
in the class we did that's what we did. But this was so much more, I don't know. I don't really know how to put it, but it was just so much. It made me so thankful that I am in the environment that I'm in my class, to where we can bless others. And like I said, our school is not just a school, it's a ministry.
Yes, it is.
So
Yes, it is. And so we've got foster care Christmas coming up. That will be, I believe the foster care families are getting their request forms pretty quickly.
They are, yeah.
And they'll be getting those in. This year, we're going to have all that out by, the second week in November, so that you will have plenty of time to do your shopping and get that back. And it's going to be awesome. So, all
Yep.
right. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Well, thank you guys for coming on. I've
Absolutely,
enjoyed having
anytime.
anytime.
you. And I think we should probably have them back again sometime.
Oh, yes, please.
We've got several exciting podcasts planned, and hopefully we can continue to get this content together and get it out to you as quickly as possible. And I hope it's a blessing to you. I hope it's helping you. I hope you're having fun with us. And if you have any ideas of a podcast you'd like to hear or a guest that you would love for us to have, let us know. Message us. Let us know. Call the office. Come up and say something to me on Sunday, because I'd love to get some content that you are interested in, that you would enjoy, and that also you would share with other people. So if you watched it all the way through today, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to us on YouTube, on Spotify, and and share the podcast with somebody else. Let them know that it's kind of fun to hang out with the Hope Unplugged folks. Yeah. So thank you for watching, listening, being with us today. And until next time, this is us saying goodbye.
Oh, goodbye.
We don't have a catchphrase.
Love you.
Yet. This is us saying, stay hopeful.
Oh,
I like it.
Wait,
I like
let's
it.
say it together. Okay.
This is us saying,
stay hopeful.